Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light is my fire passes way.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Joe with Tell Me I'm Wrong, and I will be moderating tonight's episode.
I'm Josh, and I'll be a debater.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan, and I'll also be debating. And you can tell it's been a while because that intro took us 4 takes.
Well, you know, I feel like it's very similar to like what Pam used to do to Michael Scott when he got a phone call. She wouldn't push the person through automatically and give him one chance to get out that bad intro.
That's one of those beautiful moments of the Pam Michael Scott relationship because she knows him so well. She's like, you know what? I'm going to give him another shot.
It's good that she's good to him because she's not a good person.
Whoa.
Listen.
Hot takes on
Pam and Jim are the villains of The Office.
Debate of the future.
That sounds like a debate for another time. I agree. That coincidentally, I have been watching a lot of The Office lately, so it's actually appropriate that you bring that up.
I have too. I think this is my 5th time through.
Same. We've been just cycling through it.
I'm scared it's going to leave.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to watch it again, and then I watch it. I'm on like season 4 or 5, but then I go back and I watch season 3 because I want to watch the episode they're about to go through on Office Ladies.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's been like 4 things during this whole situation we found ourselves in, to put it lightly, that I've been watching, and it's The Office, King of the Hill, which is appropriate given Bo's anger towards us last week for not picking Hank Hill. Damn it, all of us for not picking Hank Hill in our draft. Kitchen Nightmares, which is just a work of art.
Listen. I want to address this Bo thing here real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Josh.
It's okay.
Hank Hill is not going to play basketball. Hank Hill wants to go to the gym, sit in the corner or lean against the wall, drink beer, and watch the basketball game. I'm sorry, if you all can hear my dog, he is an idiot. And I apologize. He's named after an Entourage character, and he's acting like him right now, being a jackass.
I just picture Hank Hill actually, and not to get too much into our last week's topic, but I just picture Hank Hill like holding a beer trying to play basketball. And that was the main reason I just kind of stayed away. So the only show we haven't really talked about that on a previous episode would probably be Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what led me to this topic, which is that I was watching. If you're not familiar with Kitchen Nightmares, it's basically where Gordon Ramsay goes to all these American. He did a British version too, but in the American version, goes to all these terrible restaurants, mostly in either like big cities or very small towns, and he just spends 3 days absolutely yelling at everybody involved in that restaurant, mostly because they're trying to poison people. It seems they're rude. They have terrible wallpaper or terrible interior design. There's just a lot of bad things going on. So he just, the way he fixes it, he goes in, he breaks your will, and then he builds you back up.
I think that's sort of the persona that he has built. Is like he's gonna break you down, but he's gonna build you back up, and but I feel like Kitchen Nightmares is really the show where he doesn't always follow through with the end part. Like he will break you down no matter what, but he might not really get you back where you need to be.
So okay, let's be real here. I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Kitchen Nightmare. I subscribe to a different British chef who is also mean. Chef Robert Irvine of Restaurant Impossible. That is the show that I like. He goes in 2 days, $10,000, tells you you're a horrible chef. My favorite is when he fires employees, but they inevitably rehire him the next day to teach them some life lesson. That is what I like.
It's very much the same vibe.
It is, but he walks in like Triple H every week with a sledgehammer. And then he just yells at the people. Like he yells at the people who work for him more than he does at the people who are like, he's just constantly going, Tanya! And the best thing is, I can't say certain words right because of how he says. Like, Rachel and I was like, what do you want for dinner? I was like, I'd like to have some pasta. I can't say pasta anymore. It's pasta because of Chef Robert Irvine.
Well, I was going to say
that is not a British pronunciation.
It's not. And you bring up that phrase because that's my other thing about Gordon Ramsay that I find so fascinating. So the reason I even wanted to do this debate in the first place was I just love Gordon Ramsay. And I think it's the duality of Gordon Ramsay that fascinates me so much because on one hand, he is absolutely verbally assaulting all these poor people. They're not poor. Most of them are terrible people. If you ever watch that show, they don't know what they're doing in business and they're just mean people. But
and they have no leadership skills whatsoever.
None.
They're just like, they just scream at people.
But I met my cousin Jimmy, so I hired him. He's never worked before, but I hired him as a general manager. He's a good kid.
I mean, that's basically what it is.
Yes, it's every time.
But on the other hand, so you see that Gordon Ramsay, that's the one everybody seems to know and I guess love. But the Gordon Ramsay that I love is the very serious, detail-oriented chef. He strives for perfection. He is a family man. He loves his kids. Yes. He's a seemingly gentle and loving father. And then when you watch him cook by himself, like just him alone making a delicious dish, he is so soothing. He has the voice of like, I guess if Christopher Robin as an adult like grew up, that kind of like gentle English gentleman voice. Like it's just so like
I don't know
soft.
I don't know about that comparison.
It's accurate.
I've never heard Christopher Robin drop the F-bomb 36 times in one episode.
You clearly didn't watch the later years of Pooh Bear.
Maybe I didn't.
But anyways, that's beyond the point. But when he's cooking by himself, Gordon Ramsay has this gentle touch. He's always like, we're going to make the most amazing pasta dish. And it's just so relaxing.
You said pasta. Thank you very much.
Gordon Ramsay says pasta. It's just,
that's how British people say it.
Gordon Ramsay is Scottish. So it's same general realm, but it's different.
Going along the lines of what Josh has brought up is the Gordon Ramsay that I have come to know and love is the master chef Gordon Ramsay. I think this is truly his best show, first of all, and best self. This is the person he wants to be mentoring these young chefs. He wants to find the ones that have promise and he wants to help them along. And many times when it gets near the end of the show, it gets pretty emotional because he gets invested in these people. He has been mentored and wants to pass that along and wants to help people. And so oftentimes he will like pay for their culinary school or like fund their food truck or, or even just offer them a job. And so like I started watching MasterChef and I was like, why do people hate Gordon Ramsay? Like he is the best dude. And then I watched Kitchen Nightmares and I was like,
I get it. I get it.
I guess I get it.
I get that. That Robert Irvine will call people blithering idiots, threaten violence against them, walk out and tell them he's not going to help them. And then 10 minutes later, he's like talking them through their marriage. And I'm always like, what is this transition? This is the weirdest thing in the world. You blithering idiot. Do you really love your husband? If so, you need to tell them.
All right, this is not a Robert Irvine podcast.
His wife is also a professional wrestler.
That's
Josh,
true. That is very true. Gail Kim. So, anyways, after all that, the big thing that I was getting out of it is I was watching it and I was watching Gordon Ramsay. I was just like, you know what? If I was on any of these shows, MasterChef, Kitchen Nightmares, Hotel Hell, 24 Hours to Hell and Back, whatever else he happens to be hosting at the next moment.
Why is it all about hell?
Well, it's just his general personality.
Doesn't he have one called Hell's Kitchen?
Hell's Kitchen. I forgot about Hell's Kitchen. The man loves...
Is he the devil?
Yeah, I was saying, much like us, he enjoys debating and talking about hell, I guess. So anyways, I was like, if I was on one of these shows, I would be crying like day one.
Oh, for sure.
You'd be crying at the opening monologue
Absolutely.
Of the first episode.
I think I would be so emotional in so many different ways. Especially like during the the perspective I'm coming from is the Master Chef. So like when you're competing for that first apron, like I'm going to get emotional right there. Like Like,
Yeah.
I'm cooking in front of Gordon Ramsay, and he's gonna have to decide whether I can come onto the show or not. Like, I'm probably gonna cry. Like, I'm gonna cry throughout this whole show.
And I think that's why I had to moderate this week, because I think my problem would be I would struggle not to laugh.
Yeah, Joe's
Like if he was just
not a crier.
verbally abusing someone, I don't know that I would have survived in the military, because when they were yelling at the person beside me, I'd be like, like trying so hard not to laugh. Like I watched G.I. Jane the other day, and I would I would never make it as in SEALs, because I would just giggle when they yelled at someone.
Here's the thing: is Joe would be the guy on Kitchen Nightmares that Gordon Ramsay like kicks out of the restaurant
That's true.
because he's not taking it seriously.
You're not wrong.
Well, that's why this is the perfect debate for guys like me and Ryan, because 2/3 of this podcast, I think you could classify as sensitive boys. Would that be fair to say, Ryan?
I would definitely put the hashtag sensitive boys on myself for sure.
Here's the thing: I cry, but I cry at the weirdest moments. You all,
I think that's pretty on brand, though.
Yeah.
I like a good sports movie or inspiration. I'm crying. I'm sitting on the couch at 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah, for
watching
sure.
Miracle with thinking of Nick Scott, because that's the only movie he's ever seen in his life. Crying on the couch.
Our good friend Nick Scott. Shout out.
I've cried in my car after hearing a song on the way home from work.
Oh, I do that all
and
the time.
I never
Yeah.
know why.
Totally.
And then, okay, what's the first movie you all remember crying in?
The first movie I remember crying in was the Pokemon movie when Ash dies and all the Pokemon
Yes.
heal him with their tears.
That's a good pull. That's a good
That was
pull.
formative.
My first movie I remember crying in was Mighty Joe Young.
That's a valid one. That's valid.
When he climbs that Ferris wheel and falls over, my entire family watched it together, and we all cried except for my dad, and he goes, "Are you kidding me?"
I don't remember. I mean, Remember the Titans. I think I cry every time when Julius and Gary are in the hospital. But like,
You're a repeat crier on that movie? I get it. Listen.
oh yeah, I'm a repeat crier on episodes of The Office.
But you know what the thing is? I cry.
I'm dead serious.
Like, I don't cry for sad moments. I cry for happy moments.
I am probably more on the happy moment crier than sad moment crier.
Like,
depending on the moment.
I will cry. Like, I've cried for Sloan, my daughter, doing something well. My wife asked me what it would take for me to cry, and I was like, I don't think there's anything you could say to me that would make me cry.
Wow.
I honestly don't.
Wow,
now,
Joe.
if you like affected, like I'm saying, like if you like verbally abuse me, like I don't, it just doesn't bother me.
But what if like Gordon Ramsay put 2 slices of bread on the side of your head and called you an idiot sandwich? Would that make you cry?
I would laugh. I would laugh, and I would agree. I'd be like, "That's good. That's a good.
You know
that's
what?
good.
That's a good dad joke.
You're an idiot teacher. You're supposed to be showing me how to cook, and obviously, if I'm not doing good enough, it's your fault, sir."
Also, if we put Joe's head on a piece of bread, he'd be a freaking like pastrami on rye kind of situation. That's a lot of head.
That would be like a quadruple decker, not even a triple decker. You would need
Dagwood.
7 pieces of bread to fill that out.
That's a Dagwood for sure. Have we actually laid out what specifically our topic is going to be, or have we just danced around
No, we have
it?
not. We just got on this podcast and just started talking.
So I want you all to tell me. I want y'all to tell me who would be the first to cry and why if you were on a cooking show with Gordon Ramsay.
You want us to lay the case out for why I personally would be the first one to cry.
Yes, and what would make you cry? Like, what do you think? Do you think it'd be felling on a dish? Do you think it'd be something he said? Do you think you would cry just because he said your name and you pee yourself a little bit? What do you think? What I mean, he wouldn't say pee. He would say, "Did you just wee yourself?" But he would say something like that. But I do have one question before we get there. We all agree we liked Food Network. Now, my favorite Food Network star. I do like Chef Robert. I don't really watch him. But if Guy Fieri is on my TV, I'm stopping. Guy Fieri or Alton Brand.
Alton Brown.
Alton Brown.
Played for the Clippers. Alton Brown is a chef.
He can cook too if he wants. But like now it's them two. When I was a kid though, Emerald, Giada De Laurentiis, I used to like crush on her when I was a kid.
Oh man.
Hardcore.
I was all back in the day. I was all about the Food Network, but I will say the one thing that's kind of weird was
That's probably why I'm fat.
in retrospect,
I watch TV of people cooking and eating.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why we're all collectively as a country fat, but
it's a pretty American idea, the fact that we have several channels devoted to just food.
When we were kids, we watched cooking shows and people play poker. No wonder America is fat.
I was gonna say so you were talking about the cooking shows. Is the weird thing is like my personal favorite cooking show wasn't even an actual show on Food Network. It was this like it was a infomercial that came on at random times in the afternoon. I remember I would go to like my grandparents' house during the summer and I'd watch Price is Right, and then like after Price is Right, the Showtime rotisserie and barbecue would come on. Set it and forget it, baby.
Oh, I would watch those. Ronco. Yes, he had the knives
the
too.
Ronco knives, man.
Yes, I would watch. Listen.
I need to cut through a penny, guys. I need to be able to cut through a penny.
But that same knife could also cut a tomato skin into a piece of paper.
Right. That's right.
And that's really all that matters in life.
Listen, I probably spent more hours of my young like middle school life watching infomercials than anything else in the world. Infomercials and wrestling. I watched it. Now, I when I was a kid, I actually asked my parents to buy me this Express Ready Set Go. It was like this. It's kind of like a George Foreman grill, but you could fry in it, you could bake in it, you could do all this.
How old was little Joe when he asked for the
12,
baby George Foreman?
13.
Oh my gosh, little middle school Joe asking.
Was this a children's toy?
No, it's a cooking.
It's like a cooking utensil that he wanted.
It sounds like an adult easy bake oven.
It's got like this. It's got this like red hair, like with woman with like this big perm.
Oh,
and she would make cakes and make cakes and like Snickers cake.
Is she the one that made the hideous corn dog?
Yes. It was like a No, I'm looking right at it now.
You said it's called Express Ready Set Go?
Express Ready Set Go. It could
I see it.
You could cook your breakfast all in one pan. Buddy, I think I even put it on my Christmas list one year. Like, I legitimately wanted this.
This is sad, but I watched that one a million times too, and I'm kind of jealous that you had one.
I never got one.
Oh, wait,
I asked for it.
Oh.
I never got it.
Here's the thing, Joe.
It had that cool spatula. You can buy it on Amazon.
Express 101 2265.
I'm going to add it to my cart right now.
Buy that.
Rachel, I'm buying this. She'll find out next week.
Yeah, I was going to say you're communicating this to your wife a week after she already finds out that you spent the money.
It's going to show up 4 days before this episode premieres, but that's okay.
Oh, gosh. Well,
it can cook everything. Dual heating cuts cook time in half. I could be on this infomercial, you all. That's what it is.
You could be cooking your dinner while you record this podcast and eat it before this is even over because it just takes no time. I can
set up like Michael Scott to have bacon in the morning.
Oh, I mean, man, that's magic right there. That is TV magic. So
quesadillas, omelets, I mean everything. Okay, I'm sorry. I could go on for days.
I was saying you could go on for days, but I think what our listeners are here for is to hear about me and Ryan crying. So I think personally, at least what I want.
Stop. There's a Facebook group for the Ready, Set, Go blog.
Join it now.
385 people are part of it.
I need to know what these recipes are.
Yes, you all go ahead and talk about it. I have to look this up.
So, like Josh said, I think the main thing that we're going to be debating is we have to talk about why we are the more #sensitive boy. And I'm gonna get a little bit technical here, and I think I'm gonna make my first point here. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Enneagram, but I'm going to get into that a little bit because I am a pretty textbook Enneagram 2, which is the help.
Literally
is the helper.
Everyone around me is a 2.
Ryan, I am a fellow 2.
Oh, see? Oh,
if this tells you anything, I'm pretty sure I'm a 7. You guys are both going to go, yep.
I actually don't think you're a 7. I think you're a 6, but we'll talk about that another time. So that is actually very interesting. I kind of thought you might be a 2 because the 2 superpower is empathy. Mm-hmm. And so I think that is part of what makes us, the more sensitive boys on the podcast, because when I am around someone, I feel their emotions. And so that is really what is gonna bring me to tears, is the people around me. And so, like, if I'm on a show and he's berating if he's berating somebody else, I'm probably more likely to cry than if he's berating me.
Really?
And so like, because I'm more worried about how they're feeling than I am about how I'm feeling. And so I feel like that's going to play a role. And I guess you don't feel the same way about that.
I was going to say, now I would feel the same way. That's going to affect my emotions. But I think having someone in my face is going to also trigger another thing that we like to talk, that comes along with being a 2 for a lot of people, which is anxiety. And I deal with that quite a bit. And so the thought of having Gordon Ramsay in my face yelling at me, I think when you combine that with me feeling bad about the general situation, is definitely going to lead to a boiling point. Now,
which was one of his shows.
Which was one of his shows. So
boiling point in hell.
So for me, I think it's very similar in that being the person that I am and that you are, we're going to feel everybody else's pain, combine that with our own pain, and you can't hold that in no matter how hard you try. Now, I think the big question is what's going to be like the thing that really pushes you over the edge, though? Because for me, I think it's going to be a couple things. So looking at it, one of my favorite hobbies is I love to cook and entertain. I've had both of you gentlemen and your lovely wives and several of our friends over for dinner, brunches, all sorts of stuff. I love doing it. I love cooking.
We'll do it again.
Yes.
I will agree. He did also have wall art for brunch, and I was like, it was a little much.
Okay, I'm a little bit extra. We have established that on this podcast for sure. So I feel like, if you were to tell me that what I did was awful and the food was bad, that would hurt. That would cut deep. That's like cutting deep to my soul. It's like I put in all this work just for you, and then you're going to be mean to me. So that would be one thing. The second thing is if you get really, really personal with me, and sometimes Gordon Ramsay, he's the type of person, it's like the John Mulaney joke where John Mulaney says 12-year-olds know how to like cut right deep to the thing you're most insecure about.
Yes.
Gordon Ramsay does too. As preparation for this, I was listening to a radio interview he did with the BBC where he told the host that, I imagine you do like my work because you're a chunky monkey.
Oh my gosh.
To his face.
See, like I would get mad or say something back.
Well, that's very noble of you, Joe. I wish I had the balls to do that because I would just crumple up and die. Because as Joe mentioned, watching too much food shows, as a larger gentleman, you can take it a little personally when people say stuff like that. And, sometimes when you're a sensitive boy, for some reason, you just, you get targeted by the people who know how to hit you where it hurts. It's like I have this kid that lives on my street that's been bullying me. I mean, he's like 8 years old.
Is it still happening? Do I need to go talk to him?
Well, I haven't seen him in a little bit because, COVID and whatnot, but it's just like those type of people that really just know how to like find the thing that hurts the most. They just seem to gravitate towards you. And so that's why, like, inevitably, I don't know how I'm ever going to get into the restaurant business. But I imagine at some point, just because Gordon Ramsay is the type of person that would find me like a heat-seeking missile, I'm going to someday find myself in the crosshairs because he's like a shark. He smells the blood in the water. The blood is me. And I just feel like he's the type of person that's coming for me.
He's like a shark, but he's also like a middle school girl where he just knows exactly what you're insecure about and he's going to point it out. So speaking of research, I told the guys that before we started that I was going to read this sentence, just because I was just looking at some of the history about Gordon Ramsay, and this sentence I had to read a couple times because it kind of caught me off guard. So this is on the Gordon Ramsay Wikipedia page. You can find it. In the mid 1980s, he worked at the Roxton House Hotel, then ran the kitchen and 60-seat dining room at the Wickham Arms, until his sexual relationship with the owner's wife made the situation difficult.
I could see how that would make things hard to work.
Full stop. And then the next sentence is Ramsay then moved to London where he worked in a series of restaurants, blah, blah, blah. What? That's the sentence.
We could have an entire segment on the show that is just random sentences from people's Wikipedia that are never followed up on because I have a lot more questions than they provide answer for.
Until his sexual relationship with the owner's wife made the situation difficult.
Is that surprising, though, after seeing how he talks to people? Okay, I did some research. I also asked my wife. I'm wrong. I wasn't a 6. I'm actually an 8. And after researching an 8...
The challenger.
That is what Gordon Ramsay is, I think. He wants to be in charge. He's kind of an a-hole. I'll admit it. I speak fluent asshole at times. It requires strength, will, persistence, and endurance. So I honestly think me and him could maybe get along.
No, 8s don't get along.
Yeah.
You guys would. Yeah. You guys would butt heads.
You all would immediately kill each other.
Because there have been some epic clashes when people are too similar to Gordon on MasterChef. He doesn't like them at all, and he gets them out right away.
Yeah, just doing some cursory research, it seems the internet tends to agree with you that Gordon Ramsay would be an 8, just like you, because it is all over here. There's even a Facebook group called Enneagram 8. And they have a post called Gordon Ramsay. And if I ever went in the Enneagram 8 Facebook group, I feel like I would get eaten alive immediately. That sounds.
I think
like my nightmare.
Would fear 8s more. I mean, we don't want to make this an Enneagram podcast because there are way too many of them.
Yeah, but we're not doing that.
I read what Enneagram 8 was when she told me, just to be sure. The examples it gives: Fidel Castro, Aretha Franklin, Jack Black, Pink, Frank Sinatra.
What is this list?
Betty Davis, Sean Connery. I'm just reading randomly names. Jack Nicholson, Sean Penn, Harvey Keitel, Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin, Roseanne Barr, Barbara Walters, Rosie O'Donnell, Dr. Phil, and Tony Soprano.
I don't know that that's a list you want to be on.
I was not ready for that list.
Yeah. I don't foresee Joe. I mean, Joe is kind of the Dr. Phil of this podcast, to be fair. So, and he did manage to make Ryan cry a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the red one, the blue one, and the one that counts. So,
if you really want to hear Ryan cry, I mean,
you've done it on this podcast.
Just go back and listen. So that's already a point in my favor.
Yeah. So that actually, as ridiculous as that sounds, that kind of tracks that Joe and Dr. Phil are of the same cloth.
Okay. So we have gone down the Enneagram tangent.
Stop.
And
no, we're not done yet. We're not done yet.
Wait.
No, we're not done yet.
I just looked up some 2s. Boys, get ready. Eleanor Roosevelt, Nancy Reagan, Monica Lewinsky. Richard Simmons, John Denver, Barry Manilow, Dolly Parton.
I'm liking this list.
The Music of Journey. Apparently just the music is a 2.
That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, it's just the music of Journey?
It says the Music of Journey. Elizabeth Taylor, Martin Sheen, Jennifer Tilly, Danny Glover, Mr. Lethal Weapon himself is a 2.
Hold on to that feeling.
Arsenio Hall, Timothy Treadwell.
I need to go back to the Music of Journey. I'm not over this yet.
Ryan's lost in the weeds.
For those of you who tuned in for the Gordon Ramsay discussion, I apologize, but this is far more important.
It's been postponed.
If you've listened to any of our previous 13 episodes, you know what's going on. The Music of Journey, how can... And here's the interesting thing. They didn't pick a song. They didn't pick the band. They picked the music.
And it's coupled in with all these other musical artists. Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Barry Manilow, Dolly Parton,
Is it like
Josh Groban.
Really empathetic
Bobby
music?
McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy. But then the best part is it gets really fictional. Arsenio Hall, Timothy Treadwell, Grizzly Man. You're telling me the Grizzly Man is a 2? He's out there crying with grizzly bears?
Where are you getting this list?
EnneagramInstitute.com.
Wow. That's like the official site.
So that's like the real thing.
If for you Trekkies out there, Dr. McCoy is a 2. Don't see that either. But it's rating fictional people. They didn't take the test.
It really seems like an 8 thing for you to challenge this list of 2s, but that's beyond the point.
Have you seen this list? It has the Music of Journey on it.
I do think we have to halt the Enneagram talk before we get into the category of a helpful podcast.
We can halt. I'm not sleeping tonight. I'm just looking up every Enneagram.
I don't want to be any more helpful than we've already been.
We have a strict no helping podcast, helping ethic on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't want to be helpful at all. People don't need any more self-help or anything like that. They need distractions. All right. I think maybe we should take a break because we have gone down so many tangents.
I think we do. I don't remember what our topic was.
Have we talked about our topic at all?
Yes, we have. You all both agreed Gordon Ramsay would make you cry immediately.
Exactly. We're gonna have to lay out, a specific scenario.
And by pointing that out, it's gonna make me really hard to pick who would cry first. If you both agree, you would just immediately cry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Here's the other thing about two, before we go back into the moderator's office, the other thing about twos, we are much more likely to agree with each other, which makes a debate podcast.
What is the actual debate I'm trying to decide on? Who would cry first or who would cry the easiest?
Who would cry first? But
you both would cry immediately.
Yeah, well, how about I agree with Ryan. Let's go to the moderator's office. We'll circle back up. We'll try to get this back on the tracks. And we will bring the people the podcast that they came for, which is
what?
Tell me I'm Enneagram. So let's go to the mod office.
All right, let's go. Okay, guys, new month means new sponsor this month. All right, we got My Kentucky Tea joining us for the month of August. At My Kentucky Tea, they create teas that celebrate everything we all love about the state of Kentucky and ship those directly to subscribers every single month. That's right, a Kentucky shirt subscription. What better way to show your pride, love, and passion for the Commonwealth than with an original Kentucky design on a super soft Bella canvas tee, all for just $10 a month plus the cost to ship it. Sign up today for the Tea of the Month subscription and cancel anytime or prepay for a 3-month, 6-month, or 12-month subscription. That's something you could give as a gift if you wanted to for Christmas or, to a spouse for an anniversary. That special Kentucky in your life, whoever that may be. As a subscriber, you can always change your sizes from month to month. The really nice thing about that is some of the shirts they do could be for a man, some could be for a woman. I think most are designed as unisex, but one may like one over the other. So you can change that design and give that shirt that month to your spouse, girlfriend, best friend, whoever you want to give it to. You'll receive the monthly newsletter previewing the upcoming Tea of the Month shirt, and you'll have special access to an entire inventory of past subscription teas as well as other one-off designs. Check out mykentuckytea.com to subscribe or just browse the shop link and pick up a couple of great teas today. When you sign up for that subscription, the first month, you'll actually receive 2 shirts. They're going to send out their complimentary 1792 shirt as well. So go ahead, sign up for that shirt. The shirts are awesome. They had a Top Gun shirt a couple months ago that was just stupid cool. I love that movie. It was Top Gun Kentucky themed shirt. Go check them out, mykentuckytea.com.
We have seen a lot of growth in the podcast lately. We've been able to see that you all are clearly sharing it with your friends, encouraging people to listen, and we just really appreciate that. That helps us out a ton. We haven't paid $1 to advertise this show because we honestly spend it all on this enormous mod office and can't afford any advertisements. We're not the best businessmen, but what you can do to help us out in the meantime is to continue sharing the podcast with your friends. So tag them on social media with the hashtag TMIWpod. Send them your favorite episodes so that we can see that you're sharing it. Shoot them a text message. Get them on board and encouraging them to listen. That helps us out a ton, and we'd really, really appreciate you all doing that. The other thing that we want to encourage you to do is we know that there's a lot of you out there across the country, and we just want to hear from you and know where you're at and where you're listening and hear your feedback on the show. So hit us up on social media. Tell us what you're liking. Shoot us over some show topics. Just give us some ideas of what you want to hear, what you're enjoying, and we'd really appreciate to hear that. Now, I will transition out of all that, talking about how you should share this podcast by saying that this is technically a debate show, and we haven't debated anything so far. So I think we actually need to go back to the main office and try to piece together some sort of debate here. So head back into the main office with me.
All right, so we had a debate on Gordon Ramsay. We've talked about Gordon Ramsay for roughly 2 minutes.
A debate is one way to put it, I suppose, yeah.
So I think we actually have to debate this. I need you all to give me a specific situation that would make you cry, and I'm going to figure out, I guess, who the saddest situation is, who the least sad situation is.
I think it would be who you think would actually cry the first is I think where we are going with this one.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, from what you all said continually on this podcast, y'all would both cry. So this is a debate where I guess I win. But let's just go ahead and see what you all get. And maybe the sounds of your muffled cries and the smell of tears will speak to me and I'll have an answer. Go ahead and Ryan, start us out.
All right. Sounds good. So, as I've stated previously, the Enneagram 2, which is I identify myself as, is very highly empathetic. I have cried watching MasterChef multiple times. This is not something that is out of the realm of possibility. So, I actually think there are multiple scenarios where I would find myself crying in front of Gordon Ramsay. Here's the most likely scenario. There are lots of people on this show, and especially at the beginning, there are some not so talented cooks that are in the MasterChef kitchen. Gordon Ramsay is very likely to get very critical or maybe a little harsh towards the beginning because the skills are lacking or he's just extremely disappointed in a dish. Now, I realize it is a competition show, but I am picturing myself seeing someone else getting torn down and feeling someone else's feelings where they are just being completely berated and they start crying. That is the most likely scenario where I'm going to cry. So I feel like early on in the show, when we're in it's those lots and lots of people in the kitchen. If somebody else, or if it's me, is getting berated by Gordon Ramsay, I feel like it's going to be me that's going to cry first, because I'm not only going to cry if he attacks me, but if he attacks somebody else, I'm going to be feeling those feelings. I'm going to identify with them, and I'm going to break down. As we've seen before, I can break down at a moment's notice on this show.
So, some questions for you, Ryan.
Please, Dr. Phil.
At the beginning of the competition, usually you guys are all competing in a group setting from what I've seen. If you're cooking and he is attacking someone else, are you going to cry while you're cooking? Or do you think that task will help you to stay focused on Ryan's task?
I do feel like, if I'm being honest, listen, I want to win this debate, but I also have to be honest. If I'm being honest, if I'm doing a task and he is berating someone else, it is not very likely that would cause me to feel very strong emotions.
I'm not trying to poke holes. I'm just trying to get.
It's a valid question. So I think during the cook, I am less likely. But when the dish is presented, whatever show it is, when the dish is presented, or when someone else is being critiqued, that is when I am going to identify with that person.
So no matter crying or not, I still think you all both would want to go into this cooking competition to win. And I do feel like that in that moment, you are going to try to focus on your task, to hold yourself together. Because I think if he is verbally abusing someone else and then you start crying across the room and he sees that, you are a target, and he ain't going to stop until he gets rid of you. So I think in that moment, and I think Josh would do the same if his situation is, he's going to try to focus on his task, to just keep himself focused on one thing, keep your head down and go. And then, so I feel like if you're cooking and that happens, then you may last a little longer. But if it's like the beginning, you haven't started cooking yet, or the end, I do think that I could see how your empathy would come out and you would start crying for them. Now, do you think you'd be more willing to cry if he was mean to them or if he sent them home?
I think I would probably be more defensive if he was mean. And I feel like it's the sending them, it's they're leaving, it's they have lost this opportunity at their dream, and I also have lost this friend that I've made. Unless they're just like really terrible, then maybe I wouldn't cry.
Well, what if it's day one?
Maybe we connected right away. These shooting days are long. Maybe we've already developed a relationship.
That's fair. Okay, no, that's good. I'm probably more likely to cry for someone else than cry for myself. So I understand what you're saying. I don't think he could say anything to make me cry, but I think if he I think my first
Now, I'm not saying
reaction,
that, but I'm just saying the most likely scenario.
I think my first reaction would be to defend them, but you can't do that in these shows because they just make you leave. So, okay, that's very good. Josh, do you have anything for me, or are you just gonna roll over and die?
Hopefully, it's a little funny because that felt a little bit serious.
I would foresee myself personally in a slightly different situation. I don't think that I'm going to be on MasterChef. I foresee, unfortunately, me being on Kitchen Nightmares. That's the most likely place Gordon Ramsay's going to find me.
So you're starting off this debate as being a screw up.
Yes. Yeah. Which, given my proclivities for, I was going to say, given my proclivities for, seeking the worst in things, that would,
Can you
that would
spell
track.
proclivities for me?
I don't want to hurt your head. So the reason there's a couple reasons that I know that I'm going to cry before Ryan would be crying on his show. And they are twofold. First off, the secret to any great dish is aromatics. And I am very, very sensitive to onions. So if I'm just in the vicinity of a kitchen,
That was very surprising.
if I'm in any situation near a kitchen, I'm going to be crying anyways, just because of the onions and garlic in the air. Now, secondly, if I'm on Kitchen Nightmares, that means something's not going right. Now, whether
Hold on. Your argument here, you said onions would make you cry. I asked why Gordon Ramsay would make you cry.
I know.
I did not I don't care about onions.
I'm just saying I'm already on the edge. Now, second thing is
The tear ducts have been primed.
yeah, they've been primed. I'm ready to go. So the second thing is that nothing's going right if I'm on Kitchen Nightmares. Whether I own the restaurant and I am just a insufferable screw up who can't run a business, or I just work in the kitchen, I'm going to be stressed to death. And as I mentioned earlier, I have my own struggles with anxiety. And I get stressed out very easily and I can feel overwhelmed. And so just being in that situation, especially if I own the restaurant, once again, primed, I can cry on the drop of a hat. So when he does arrive, if I don't just fall into his arms weeping immediately saying, please help me, there's something wrong. So just his presence and the thought of him having to come in and save my business that I have ran into the ground because I took a delicious seafood restaurant that had been open since 1882 and turned it into the equivalent of Captain D's. Like, I need help.
Why are you opening a seafood restaurant? In what situation are you opening a seafood restaurant?
Well, exactly. I shouldn't have opened a seafood restaurant. That's why I'm on Kitchen Nightmares.
I just feel like you've really set yourself up for failure
just
here.
The presence of Gordon Ramsay, and no, I'm not even going to have to be in that presence, is going to be enough for me to be ready to cry as soon as I see him. Whether it's because I think he's my savior in this situation or because I know he's going to be mean to me, the tears are coming, and it is all because of his arrival.
I feel like this might be one of Joe's tougher decisions that he's had. I feel like in the past, I've usually known which direction Joe's going to go, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the outcome here.
In the words of Gordon Ramsay, this is a really tough decision because you're both crap. That is actually a direct quote, apparently, from him.
Also, before we get to the decision, just to delay it longer, I feel like this is not the first time where Josh and I are competing to be the most pathetic person on the podcast.
Well, quite honestly, this entire podcast has been a competition of the three of us to see who could be the most pathetic, so it kind of tracks.
Is that why podcasts were made?
Yeah, it was so we could all embarrass ourselves.
Podcasts
publicly.
were made because people couldn't afford therapy bills.
Yeah. So we just talked to
Dr. Joe.
Talk to
a bunch of
whoever
people
will
we don't
listen.
know. Dr. Joe.
Okay, so oh my god, I
really might have to just refer to Joe as Dr. Joe from now on.
I think it's appropriate.
I don't even know with this, you all. This is this is terrible.
Listen, here another delay before we get to the decision. When we started talking about this podcast, I honestly was a little nervous about this topic, but I feel like it's been a good episode. But what it comes down to, Joe, is crying and just the emotional. It's a gut thing. Like, when you start crying, you can't really control the times. Like it's one of those natural human emotions. So what I need you to do, Joe, I need you to just close your eyes and just get into the moment where Joe or Josh or I are in front of Gordon, and he has just laid out his situation. I've laid out mine. Put yourself as the cameraman. Who is the man who's going to be crying for?
It's a good thing we don't ask for Patreon subscribers, because people would probably ask us to pay them after listening to this debate.
This was more of a meticulous question, ridiculously debated, if anything.
Ooh, why didn't we use that as the tagline? That's way better.
That's actually a good point.
It's too late now.
So I'm forced to pick the less sucky of two.
Here, how about we make this easier for you, Joe? You
all got in these boats and sailed to sea. You got to swim in them now.
Let Josh talk. I think he's about to lay it out.
I just want you to think that you know me and Ryan really well at this point, and both of you have seen me at my lowest moments when I was really struggling, and you could see it in my eyes. You know I want to cry all the time.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Same.
You know, when the incident occurred, it wrecked me. And you were there for me, Joe. And so I need you to just envision where I was, and I would be in that exact same place with my failing restaurant that's just full of chopped onions.
Now listen, I'm gonna counter a little bit, because just because Josh's life has been sadder than mine does not mean that he is more likely to cry at any moment.
I debate
You guys are making me feel like a piece of crap for having to make this decision. Literally, it's like, Joe, I need you to pick which one of my friends have the worst life right now. That's what I feel like you guys are asking me to do.
It's not about our life.
Joe, I think there's an important question here then. Who made you feel like more of a piece of crap?
Ooh.
I feel like more of a piece of crap because I still have to answer this question.
Well, what we were hiding from you is that the actual question for this episode was who could make Joe feel bad about himself first. And so whoever did that, I think, wins.
Oh, I don't feel bad about myself. I just feel sorry for both of you and the people who are listening still.
Well, good. Then we've accomplished our goal.
Okay. Cue the music. The question was that you all still failed the answer is why Gordon Ramsay would make you cry. You gave me two terrible examples. Neither one of them apply to that question. But I do think there's one that maybe applies more than the other. If I get really abstract, and as I said 2 episodes ago, if I suspend disbelief and try to make this work, I have to take the Matrix blue pill to figure it out. But I think the unfortunate winner of this event, of this debate, is I'm gonna cry because I have to make this decision. The loser is, because no one wins this debate, Ryan Story.
Man, I'm even sadder now.
Listen, I think we all knew.
And I'll even tell you why, Josh. I'll tell you why you lost. Why you're the biggest loser of crying, not the TV show.
I wish I was of the TV show, too.
You openly admitted that you were going to begin crying before Gordon Ramsay came to your restaurant. So you're telling me that your restaurant was failing so bad, I could have walked in your restaurant, went, "This fish sucks," and you would have started crying.
That's a fair point.
So Gordon Ramsay has nothing to do with your argument, except for maybe he walked in off the street because he has to go take a piss.
No, he was definitely there for a reason. My restaurant sucked.
Yeah, he's there for a reason.
So I think really the problem with this episode was we just didn't really involve Gordon Ramsay enough. We just wanted to talk about why we cry.
No, I think you all there was some healing today.
Yeah,
some growth from each of you.
Yeah,
Gordon Ramsay
I feel better.
Gordon Ramsay's a bigger mystery than he was when we started. So Ryan wins. I definitely lose. I lost a lot of years off my life because of this debate.
Oh, for sure. I think this really it really encapsulates our tagline pretty well.
I think I'm not going to moderate for a while. I think it's best if I just debate.
Well, I think the good news here is that this is a perfect avenue for us to announce that Gordon Ramsay will be a guest on this podcast. We don't have a date set yet with him. It could be years down the road, but we are excited to announce that Gordon Ramsay will be a guest on this podcast to settle this finally.
I'm coming for you, Gordy. I'm coming for you.
In an episode, when we had our talks with Gordon's people, we agreed that he would come on and try to make me or Ryan cry for a whole episode. So look forward to that whenever that happens, and it'll be a great, great thing. We appreciate Gordon committing to doing that.
Can I try to make Gordon Ramsay cry? Can that be my goal? Him to make you all cry, and I'll try to make him cry.
You can try.
You can try, but it ain't going to happen.
I did when I was doing some research before the show started. I looked up what made Gordon Ramsay cry. And in 2014, he lost some Michelin stars in his New York restaurant. And he said that made him cry.
Oh, damn.
I think Gordon Ramsay only cries when he doesn't have enough salt to make his meal. So he does salty tears, and then he makes sure that it's perfectly seasoned.
It's a tool.
It's only a seasoning.
He uses it as a tool to that's how his steaks are so dang good. They're seasoned with tears.
Much like Ash being risen from the dead by the Pokemon tears, Gordon Ramsay is able to make a perfect fillet with his own tears. Well, I was going to say, I think the people have had enough, Ryan, so please close this out.
I think we've come full circle with the Gordon Ramsay steak ash tears reference. I think we've reached our quota. Yeah. So I think that's going to...
I thought you said stank ass tears.
Steak. Gordon Ramsay steak, not stank. First, I want to thank Gordon Ramsay for listening. We really appreciate his support.
We apologize.
I'm really excited to have you on. The show. We also want to thank Isle of 8 for the use of our theme song, Jean Jacket. Go check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere you find great music. Side note about them, Nick Bernard, who is a member of the band, has an Instagram account where he mainly just posts about his adorable dog. So go look at him as well. Just a random plug that he did not ask for that I just thought I would throw.
Don't follow him. Just That's go right. Look at him.
Be creepy.
So just to reiterate what Josh said earlier, go ahead and give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at TMIWpod. Invite some friends to follow us. You could do that through Facebook, I believe. Send a request. Say, hey, these guys are great. Check them out. That'd be great. Tell a friend. Use that hashtag TMIWpod. Send us your debate topics, your comments for the week. Someone please tell me why Gordon Ramsay would actually make you cry, because you would win the debate by default because neither one of these two actually did that. So if you could just, that would be great. I would honestly put you on our board of wins and losses. Whoever does that, I will add your name to our list, and you will be an honorary winner of this debate because they didn't do it.
Yeah, if you're placing a prop bet on Ryan and Josh versus the field, I would take the field on this one personally. But
you literally just have to tell me why he made you cry, and you win.
Yeah, this is a really simple one. So you can either do that on social media, or you can head over to tmiwpod.com. We've got a contact us page there if you want to tell us, why you would cry at the thought of Gordon Ramsay yelling in your face. You can go buy some merch. You can go over there and sign up for our mailing list, find our social media, go to our YouTube, all that stuff right there on tmiwpod.com. So head over there, check it out, and join in on the fun.
We really want to hear from you guys. So either contact us there on our social media or send us an email at tmiwpod@gmail.com. Send us your topics. We have plenty. Don't worry. We will never run out. But
don't say that.
We want to debate. We want to debate what you want to hear. So send us your ideas. Once again want to say thank you to My Kentucky Tea for their sponsorship all through the month of August. You can find them at My Kentucky Tea or at mykentuckytea.com.
Yeah, if you get your shirt this month through My Kentucky Tea, go ahead, take a picture, post it on Instagram, tag them and us. Let us know you got it. Show us off how great you are, and then while you're at it, get a tea for us. Get one of our teas. You could 2 photos, one in the My Kentucky tea, one in the Tell Me I'm Wrong tea. Guys, ladies will be, they'll be sliding into your DMs if you do that.
Usually I say as always, but for the first time, there was no winner, but we're definitely all losers. Later, losers.
See ya.
Why did the chicken cross the road? Because you didn't fucking cook it.